Bring your vodka to episode 19.
Dive in it. Dive in it. Dive in it. Dive in it.
What do you think it's called? Dive
in it. Dive in it. Dive in it. Dive in it. Dive in it.
Yes, yes, yes. Welcome back. Diving for Glory, episode 19. Yeah. What it do? Happy fucking New Year's. The last episode of 2019. Diving for Glory. I'm your host, Mr. PEP to the Corsi Ola. And my man, Sir Solomon. Title holder. What up?
What's good?
Yes. We are on the holiday shit, so only 2 leagues are in action. That would be an EPL English League review and Serie A Italian League review. Man, we're just going to run through the games and do what we normally do, man. All right, man, don't forget, Diving for Glory, posting every Monday and every Thursday after Champions League, but that's not till February. That'll be it, man. Yeah, every Monday from now on until then. And check us on YouTube, iTunes, and divingforglory.com. And do not forget that we can be found on Twitter and Facebook at Diving for Glory. Word up. Just a cup, Jersey Tuck, Boots Lace. I'm way late, but it's all good. EPL, man, we're going to start it off. We're going to run it through like we normally do in this situation and just hit you off in the chronological order in the way that history went down. And that brings us the exciting battle of relegation. Fulham hosting Huddersfield Town. Fulham did this, man. They took all 3.
Yeah, they got a goal, and more impressively, they got a shutout. And the dude came on and scored today. Assisted. Got the penalty. Mr. Ryan Sessegnon off of Alexander Mitrovic gets the goal in injury time. Yeah. In a game where Mitrovic and his fellow forward
Abubakar Kamara
decided to have a little handbags over who should take the penalty.
Yeah, a little Neymar, Cavani type thing going on.
Except they were both Cavani-sized people. There was no Neymar in that situation.
That's that. And, of course, he gets it saved. Does not make it. That never turns out well, man. Cavani made his, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it never turns out well. Normally, same way with Mahrez when he took it from Jesus in the Liverpool game. But anyway, 91st minute, Mitrovic brings it home. Really nice goal, though. And all 3 points for Fulham, man.
Yeah, Fulham is a confusing team. They play zero defense. They're usually very open. But they have a lot of talented players. Mitrovic as a 9 is good. Jean-Michel Seri is among the top in terms of chances created, big chances created. It's like Hazard, Willian, him.
You think they can get out here with Ranieri coaching?
Can they what?
Can they get out of relegation here? Can they survive?
Very much. I mean, will they? I don't know if they're giving away too many points, but even though Cardiff is out of the relegation zone, which we're talking about, I have more confidence in Fulham surviving just because they have big-time players. And usually towards the end, it comes down to who has more talent.
Yep.
And I think the Fulham does.
Yeah, absolutely. So currently Fulham, this was true bottom of the table stuff. Fulham sit 19th, Huddersfield sit last place, 10 points. They're 5 clear relegation. However, Fulham sit with 14, so they're only 2 points out, man, of being safe. Or a point in goal difference. Moving along.
Yeah, but Fulham and Huddersfield, like if you look at Huddersfield, they have scored 12 goals this season.
Yeah.
And Fulham have 18 goals scored, you know? Whereas, but like if you look at Huddersfield's defense, including this game where they lost 1-0, they have 35 scored against them, whereas Fulham has 43 goals against them. So if they tighten up a little bit, if they're this close to survival while shipping so many goals and stuff, if Ranieri can get them to play as a unit a little bit more and they don't get so adventurous and leave themselves open, they have potential. Like they're like 1 point out of survival right now and have had a terrible opening to the season.
Absolutely. Moving along, Watford hosting Newcastle, and Newcastle looked like they were going to steal themselves 3 points here, but it was not to be. And 1-1 draw.
Yeah, fitting Newcastle play Watford, and it's a one-word draw, you know?
Yeah.
But Watford, I'm glad they got the point because they really played. Like, they had 62% of the possession. They had 12 shots to 8 advantage. Like, they were balling, and they played like a home team should. And they, like you said, Newcastle had the 1-0 advantage going into the second half, and they just tried to hold off, and eventually it didn't happen.
Eventually, it did not happen.
Abdoulaye Doucouré, who might end up at PSG. What kind of fucking raise do you get when you move from fucking Watford to PSG?
To PSG. Whew.
Like
Man.
the kind of fucking, like when Hudson-Odoi can't play for Chelsea, but Bayern Munich wants to buy him. Okay.
Holla, holla. So that places... Watford. Watford sit 9th, and Newcastle sit 15th, 3 points clear of relegation. Watford 28. Word up. Moving along, next match. Yes. Brighton and our boy Hove. Man, this is an interesting round of games. Brighton also, mid-table, lower mid-table, and they come and steal all 3 points over Everton, 1-0.
Yeah, but without him, Jurgen Locadia with the goal to... It was considering Everton is a bigger team and the away team, they had 56% possession, but it was a pretty even match. Total shots 13-11, shots on target 4-3. Like they played them well, and Everton
hit the woodwork twice.
Have had a couple of big results, one against them and one for them, so they've had a fucking emotional roller coaster. So
yeah,
they probably weren't all the way there, so they got,
Yep, absolutely. And that puts Brighton in 13th place and Everton in 10th. Chip, chip, chop. Then
and
we
also Mr. Richarlison was not in this game.
He did not play.
Oh, no, he was.
He did play, I thought so.
Yeah, he was not in this game to score.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there was a striker in the next game who scored a wonderful goal, and his name was Harry Kane, but it was not enough.
He scored a really
fancy left-footed goal.
Sexy, all those words. And it took them into halftime with the lead. It was a 22nd minute goal off his weaker foot, quote-unquote. But it was spectacular. Mr. Son keeps up with his good form with an assist. They're going to miss him a lot when he goes to go play in the Asia Cup, Asia ANC Cup or whatever. But at least he doesn't have to leave for 2 years to do military service. So they're fine with it.
He won his way out of that. That's right.
Like the best of the best or something, like back in the 80s and 90s karate movies or something. He had to win to get his freedom.
So bad. Tottenham, though, man, they give up 3 goals in the span of like 15 minutes. They get 0 shots, period. Not just shots on goal. No shots in the second half. Pretty much after this goal, they went to bed and were resting up for their next match, apparently. Where they just do this?
They always have is that Tottenham kind of sits on their laurels a little early. But that's not even it. Wolves, even in the game they got fucked up by Liverpool, they play really good football. So you can't shut off. Like, you have to stay on, try to catch them. You have to keep doing the counter-attack thing to keep them on their back toes. But if you're just going to score a goal early and shut it down, they want to have time on the ball. So the more time they have, the more confident they get. And they showed them what they could do. They had 8 shots to their 0 in the second half. It's not like it was a cagey second half. One team was fucking attacking. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, and Tottenham with more passes, more possession, but it yielded nothing. There were 6 of 20 on long balls and 1 of 10 on crosses. Like, they were just the opposite of clinical. A blip on the radar here, or?
And also, a Tottenham team that's known for their lightning, wicked counterattack had 0 counterattacks in this game against a Wolves team that has not been playing good counterattack defense. So it all points to just Tottenham, the fixture list and stuff. They just blinked one day and they got gut. This is the Premier League.
Word up. Tottenham sit 3rd place, and Wolves move back up to 7th, man.
Hugo Lloris sucks.
He's not the future, man. I'll tell you that.
Yes, that's for sure.
Head is the future. But outside of that, Leicester City hosting Cardiff City. Whew, and Cardiff B. Cardi B over here steals all 3, man.
Yeah, Leicester be doing the thing. It was time they came down to earth a little bit, and who better to bring it down to earth than Cardi B?
Yeah. Now, they missed a penalty in this game, 75th minute. Goalkeeper save.
After, it must be said, Mr. Jamie Vardy was substituted for the prolific, wonderful, amazing, fantastic, romantic, bombastic, lova Kelechi Iheanacho.
Lava.
They put on Kelechi Iheanacho in the 68th minute, and in the 75th minute they got a penalty, and they're like, fuck me.
Yeah, they were saving him for Wednesday's game or whatever. Anyway,
Cardiff.
they paid for it.
Cardiff's the kind of game that Jamie Vardy made his Premier League career on to begin with. Like, you put him in this game, let him pad his stats, get closer to the top in scoring. He's hype. You got a decent season.
Yep.
Like, and now Claude Puel, even though he's had a decent run of games, is having to explain why he took out
Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, because
They
has parties.
They got in the 92nd minute by Victor Camarasa, who hit a wonderful goal.
Mr. Camarasa, take a bow, take the points.
Take all 3 points.
Take fucking Cardi B.
Right up out of like 4 points clear of relegation now. Nice.
I still think they're one of the favorites.
They're susceptible.
Not susceptible. I've been saying I still think they're one of the favorites for a relegation.
Okay. Yeah. It's still early. A lot of games to be played. A lot of games to be lost.
You have to work way too hard to get a 1-0
to get a goal.
against like a team. You know, like the other teams around them, like even Southampton, like Burnley's going down.
Yeah.
And I think that unless, Cardiff is the other team that's available, unless Brighton takes a pretty big nosedive. You know, because I don't think Crystal Palace falls.
Okay.
Newcastle neither.
Well, moving along, the so-called what we thought would be the match of the week. Saturday afternoon.
Arsenal heard it the wrong way. Week is spelled W-E-E-K, not W-E-A-K, you weak shits.
Liverpool at home to Arsenal, and after a quick start by Arsenal, this became a massacre.
So Arsenal put out the 3-4-1-2, I want to say lineup. It doesn't really matter because they're just chasing ghosts most of the game. But they had Maitland-Niles on as a wingback, and he had a pretty decent game, and he got the first goal, made it look for 3 minutes like Arsenal was into this game and trying to win shit. But then they said, nah, we good.
It's a lineup I've never seen them run this year, and I don't know. I wish I knew the stats on that to see if they have.
Against the team who runs the most of that lineup all the time, and
it's pretty much settling in here with the best 11.
It was, and forget just not the lineups being the same. Roberto Firmino, more than £20 million transfer.
Yeah.
Sadio Mane, same thing.
Salah.
Mohamed Salah, more than $30 million.
Shaqiri,
they got him.
perfect bargain.
But still, like, you know, like they went out of their way to make Fabinho, same thing.
Van
Like
Dijk,
Wijnaldum, Van
even
Dijk, Lovren.
Allison.
And then, okay?
Yep.
For the price of Alisson, it looks like they made Arsenal.
For real? Yeah.
Yeah, Kolasinac, Stefan Lichtsteiner, which would have been great in 2005.
Yeah.
Shokdan Mustafi, I read when I saw the morning on my phone, it said Shokdan Mustafi might be playing. And I was like, oh, fuck, that's not a positive for this team. Like, he's one of the most aggressively mediocre people. Like, he looks like he's shouting, he's pointing, he looks like a leader, and then he always does the fuck up.
They paid 50 for him.
Woo-wee.
Oof. Yeah, tough.
And then Torreira is the only person, but like he can't run around.
Yeah.
And then you bring in Aaron Ramsey, Alex Iwobi, like Lacazette and Aubameyang have been playing good for the past couple of months.
And then when he took out Aubameyang, he put in Lacazette for him, so they didn't even play together in this game. And I definitely would have liked to see Guendouzi on this game, and maybe in that.
Everything about what they did was wrong. I mean, Liverpool showed that they are. I mean, not much that we don't already know, but like they're here to fucking stay. Like they're gonna be all the way to the end. Like this is a contending team that has serious ambitions, that's doing big things in the right ways, and then there's this fucking team that just had no clue.
Yeah, it just looked like Emery did what the fuck ever.
But this is the story of Emery's career. If you take out that year in PSG where he never had a big game, right?
Yep.
But he plays the big guys like Barca and whatever, and they try to like outdo them and whatever they're good at or whatever, and like he puts out random teams, and he always gets fucked up by the big teams, you know? Yep. So that's your life now.
Smash.
And has any other team, like let's randomly pick a date, like 2008, okay? Has any other of the quote-unquote big six teams consistently every season had a couple of like extremely embarrassing blowout losses?
Every year.
No, like there's that one time Manchester United lost 6-1.
Yeah.
Right?
It's the city, yeah.
Like other than that, like their coach lose 3-1, like they fired him to Liverpool. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then 2 weeks later, this dude is like, nah, 3-1, like that's halftime score, dude.
Yeah.
You got to a 5-1 right here. 2 penalties, a hat trick, everything. What you need.
Yeah. Comical defending, unprofessional defending.
I mean, they are a team in transition, but like, why are you trying to just like play
regular?
Like, this is the same thing that Arsene Wenger would do. Is like, you're just gonna put out the team and say, be Arsenal. Like, if you know they're this prolific, why don't you sit back a little, try to like shore up, do something? Like, they just
don't do some shit. Don't do some shit you haven't done all year. I know that.
And this point we were making while we were watching this yesterday. How the fuck do you get countered on when you don't even have the fucking ball?
Yeah.
Like, they have the ball the whole game, they give it to you for like less than half a minute, and all of a sudden, you have nobody in defense. I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah, they got broke on in the first half.
A bunch of times.
Yeah.
Even like all the goals had like some sort of break happening and nobody knowing how to run backwards. I don't know if like they're like a car with the reverse gear broken or something.
Yeah.
But it was ridiculous. The Mohamed Salah assist, which fucking gorgeous, but both of them were there.
Yep.
No defenders.
Firmino going through the defense.
Yeah.
It was just awful.
And the only thing worse than the defense not being there was when the defense was there. When they were just like crashing into each other and just, you know.
Yep.
So a ridiculous performance meets, like, it's like the unstoppable force meets the ridiculous. Like, it's not even the immovable or something. It's just the ridiculous.
Yeah. Just clear out the way, sir.
Fucking boys.
Yeah. Well, there's a gap in the table between those two teams. Of 16 points, and that feels about right.
It looks like after that game, that looks flattering.
And Emery had the nerve to say afterwards that the score wasn't indicative of the gap between the two teams.
It wasn't. It should have been 7. Yeah, and I don't think that the 16 or 18 points you just said is even the gap that, it's not representative. This team is so far from Liverpool right now. I don't even know. And if you're trying to hold up a team that counters on you all the time and you're trying to just keep the ball away from them, why don't you have more ball players? Why is everybody there just either a runner or a defender?
I agree, man. I agree.
Anyways, dumb shit meets borderline genius shit. That's what happens.
Remember the first game was crazy, and I guess just Liverpool wasn't in that zone yet. As far as their defensive rhythm.
That's the thing. They're in an amazing moment the past however long, and if you're gonna face that, then you better come with a strong plan, because Mr. fucking Klopp is not taking prisoners right now.
Yeah, well, that was the opposite of a strong plan, and that left Liverpool at the top of the table by 9 points at that moment, and Arsenal still sit fifth. And they are 5 points back of Chelsea for fourth and slowly getting crept on by the Red Devils. We'll talk about them here in a second, though.
Yeah, Sunday games.
All right, and moving along to Sunday's games. And it started off with what looked like could be a tricky tie for Chelsea, but they came away with the 1-0 over Crystal Palace away.
Yes, and it was a very, very, very well taken goal by the most prolific, stunning midfielder, N'Golo Kante.
the nicest midfielder there is.
Oh yeah, his smile was eliminated the fucking Crystal Palace Stadium. But he's playing further up, and the pass from Jorginho over the top that he chest controlled before he shot it under the goalkeeper's body was really well taken. Hazard tried left, tried right. He was going at him. He really held the Crystal Palace defense back in check, but it didn't seem like they were going to get it until Mr. Kante broke through. 4
shots, none on target for Crystal Palace. No big chances, 77% accurate passing. I mean, who cares? It's 3 points, but should have been a bigger victory here by Chelsea.
Yeah, but if you remember when we talked about the Liverpool game against Chelsea and various other games where the Manchester United Chelsea game, I think also, and they don't have goal scorers, not necessarily a striker. They don't have goal scorers outside of Eden Hazard. Their midfielders don't score goals. A lot of teams, they chip some goals in, and this is why N'Golo Kante is scoring. Even it's N'Golo Kante. He's only scored a goal a season his previous 2 seasons in the Premier League, and this year this was his 3rd goal. Secondly, it was a very well taken goal, like I said, and thirdly, if he starts scoring, then they look a little more scary. But they need some other people other than Hazard to be a scoring threat. And Pedro, at this point in his career, is in and out with injuries. And Willian just, if you look at the statistics, he's got a lot of big chances created. But during the game, I don't see it. He doesn't pass the eye test at all.
Okay. Chelsea sit 4th in the table, 2 points behind Tottenham as that gap closes, and Crystal Palace sit 14th, 4 points out of relegation. Moving along, Southampton hosting the defending champion Manchester City Citizens. And Manchester City come away 3-1, and I watched this game, of course, but I didn't feel like it was that pretty. It wasn't that inspiring.
It wasn't. They got ahead early, and then when Mr. Højbjerg, who had a busy game, we'll get to him properly later, when he tied the game in the 37th minute, it felt like, the past 2 games that they lost, they scored before the other team early, and then they got fucked up. But the David Silva goal from Bernardo Silva was really nice, and then when Højbjerg did it, I was like, oh shit. But James Ward-Prowse decides
to arm up something.
Yeah, he gets a little own goal right before halftime, and then Zinchenko, who had a really good game as a left back, crossed out to Sergio Aguero, who that was a perfectly taken header. That was
perfect.
One really beautiful goal.
And it was definitely a sense and think about this, you're like, oh shit, City needed that third goal in the first half to feel.
They did. Because before then it was 1-1 and then it was just an own goal. So you could still feel the luck. Like it didn't bring any confidence. It wasn't even that, if that own goal didn't exist and Sergio Aguero was the 2-1, they would have still been as hyped. Because like that's the first time it looked like they took the game back, and after that you could tell like Southampton can't come back twice. And then on the second time from a 2-goal deficit, So it was done. Second half was kind of just walk through. Sané came on late. Like we find out later that Kevin De Bruyne will not be ready probably for the Liverpool game.
Sucky sucks. But plenty of players that will be on the field.
Riyad Mahrez holds on to the ball way too long.
He
You don't have to dribble on every play. You're supposed to know when to pass and make those moves every once in a while. Like
he seems like the dude that's kind of out of the system at this moment.
Which to a certain level they kind of need that. That's
Absolutely.
why Sterling
Somebody
works
can create.
also, because they have all these guys that do certain skill sets, and then one guy that like Dembele in Barcelona too.
Yep.
So,
but when it's time to play within the system,
yes,
he's not doing it.
You
and I
can
agree.
get out of the system for a minority of the time during the game. Most of the time, you have to kind of. And I see too many times where he's stranding players and dribbling.
He's out there feeling like he's Ronaldo, and and he's not finishing like Ronaldo.
And you can have your moments, but like every time you get the ball, you can't just look at that. Like he wasn't even doing this at Leicester.
I agree, man. He wasn't even doing that at Leicester.
Particularly selfish. I don't know if Pep told him like, "It's your day, go out and do it," but like it was unnecessary.
Agreed. I totally agree with that assessment. I had always been I think I've been thinking that it's been percolating in the back of my brain, and was kind of obvious today. Yeah, always, man, always. The other 9:15 game this morning was Burnley hosting West Ham, and again, man, this is just a round of the bottom feeders, pretty much all getting points. Burnley 2-0.
Marko Arnautovic comes back, they go back to their losing way.
What's the issue there? Do they try to force the issue too much with them, or
I don't know, but this was a game in which Marko Arnautovic and Andy Carroll participated, so I would at least have hoped there was a fight in it.
It probably was between them.
Woo, that'd be nice. Anyways, Burnley took it to them, and West Ham notoriously do not travel well. So once they got back, they got down by 2 in the first half. It was a wrap, dude.
Yeah, giving up 5 big chances to Burnley.
17 total shots given up.
To a team that's been struggling to do anything all year.
Yeah, some teams in the Premier League are gonna score 2 goals if you give them 17 chances. 5 big chances, 4 big chances missed.
Yep. Last game of the weekend for
14 shots from inside their box.
Yeah. Woo. Burnley.
That means you're getting opened up. That's every 5 minutes they're getting an opportunity to get to your goal.
Yep.
And they just suck. But they've shown you the blueprint. It's just that their finishers can't finish.
Yep. And you lose points when that happens. And Burnley sit still in the relegation zone in 18th place, and West Ham sit 11th still with 27 points.
West Ham is just notoriously up and down.
They're
doing their thing. They had a little streak. Now they're going to lose 2, and then they probably win 3, and that's just West Ham.
Well, a team that is definitely on a hot streak is Manchester United. That will round out our EPL review. And they hosted Bournemouth. And I, for one, picked this game in this random pick'em league I'm in as a massacre. And yay, it was.
Yep. Proving again that the timing of the new manager syndrome with the firing of Mourinho was not accidental. And it was not just a reaction of a big loss to Liverpool. It was planned at this point to get rid of the guy. And the new coach is getting to do his thing. He's really letting Paul Pogba show that he can lead a team. And Paul Pogba is so far, although these teams that they're playing are small shit teams, they were losing the 2 small shit teams before then. But Paul Pogba has taken it by the scruff. He has 4 goals and 3 assists since Mourinho got fired in the 3 games. Today he had 2 goals and Yeah, that was
So-
Lukaku created fucking. I mean, he had a goal that was about a foot offside.
It was definitely offside. He was a nice finish. Yeah, Pogba, man, on it. And I mean, too early to tell. You know, you look at the competition, et cetera, but, you know, he's obviously being deployed in a further, more attacking role.
Oh, yeah.
But,
They're playing like the same concept of a 4-2-3-1, whereas Mourinho's trying the 4-3-3, blah, blah, but like they're the same players, but how you position them. Paul Pogba is playing much more like a number 10 up front, which is where Mourinho generally had Jesse Lingard playing.
yeah.
And because of this, Jesse Lingard is moved to the outside and he can create whatever, but like he didn't have one of his spectacular games. But that's the thing, there was a problem with Mourinho, is that he was a system where Jesse Lingard would shine over Paul Pogba. Like, this is what it's supposed to be. Jesse Lingard playing a sort of supporting role, while Paul Pogba in the middle shines along with Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial, who also both had amazing games.
Rashford was a beast today.
He was, and but the pass from Martial was fucking beast too. Like, the guys, they like playing the football that their current manager is doing. You see Eric Bailly doing goal celebrations with Paul Pogba, and it wasn't like, you know, like Victor Lindelof. The one problem I have with this whole team and the arrangement is Nemanja Matic. Because of his presence, it's still very easy to get a goal scoring opportunity against them, as shown by the goal that they received, which was
Is he just too slow?
they're just they're not solid in the middle. Against the past 3 games, they've had goals scored against them by 3 teams that don't score goals. And if you look at this play, the guy dribbles horizontally through the penalty box of Manchester United, turns around and then crosses it, and Nathan Ake is open for it. Like, what the fuck is your defense doing? Like, you know?
Yeah.
They're still a very easy team to be scored on, but I think I like that Eric Bailly and Victor Lindelof had started together, even though Eric Bailly ended up being a dumbass and got sent off. But I think that going forward, they have to figure out how to get those two to be their middle.
Yeah, if you're not going to spend the money,
defenders.
so you got
They did spend the money on them.
on them. No, I know. I'm saying if you're not going to do it again. Good point though. Rashford balled out, Pogba balled out. They just crushed these boys 4-1, and that's 3 in a row for Manchester United, and they move within 3 points of 5th place Arsenal. It's really sweet.
Yes.
And they have Tottenham after the round of FA games, but in between them they have Newcastle. Does it feel like a trap game or something to you?
Coming in. The middle Newcastle game?
Newcastle
I think
United.
that Newcastle is always a serious, especially for a team
At Newcastle too.
Yeah, like for Manchester United, that's always a big. Like, there's a rivalry, a northeast rivalry there. So, like, internationally, we think like, oh, maybe they just slept on them or whatever. But Newcastle locally is recognized as a big rival, you know.
Absolutely. All right. Well, moving along then. On to Serie A. There were 6 red cards over these string of games in Serie A. It gets really real in the holidays.
Serie A fucking lit, dude. Racism, people getting killed, hooligan fights, like players red carding. Like, it's
Yeah, teams not owned by mystery owners and shit.
yeah,
Sure.
dude disappears, now it's owned by another
Match
mystery
fixing.
owner.
Yeah.
All that.
All that. Serie A.
The only thing you can't find? Speed.
Speed. True that. Litty lit. Start you off in Juventus in Turin. Juventus hosting Sampdoria. This is a solid, respectable team, but 2-1 here. Get all 3 points again.
Yeah, it took a Ronaldo double to put away Mr. Fabio Caggarella, who we gave goal of the round in the midweek.
Yep.
But Cristiano Ronaldo, once from Paulo Dybala, and then another time from the penalty spot. Takes 2 goals, does a little dance.
The other goal was a penalty too for Quagliarella.
Yes.
Did you see it?
No.
It was like off his shoulder, man. It was I don't know, and they VAR'd it and they upheld it, but just didn't look like a handball to me. Anyway,
I think this off the shoulder that a lot of people do. Like, I don't think that you should be dealing with anything over there. Anyways, so if they call it to you, then, like if they call you on it, then so be it. Like, I've seen a few games, even in the Premier League, where they point at the shoulder in defense, and I'm like, that's handball. Like, if that's what your defense is, then you fucking deserve the penalty that you just.
That's not your hand, man. It never registered to me when I started watching like how high up they consider the handball. So
I think it's just because they don't like it's probably translation or whatever, but it's like arm ball. It's not handball, because if it was, then it would just be this, your hand, your wrist. But
for sure.
So.
All right. Well, Juventus get all 3 points, remain undefeated at the top of the league. A formality here more than anything, and Sampdoria sits 7th. They were a point back of Europa. Moving along, Sassuolo at home to Atalanta. The AT aliens showed up and abducted all the Sassuolo players and performed random experiments on them and just put 6 goals on them.
Yeah, I mean,
destruction.
Is Kevin Prince Boateng happily sat on the bench until the 54th minute while the team was getting ridiculed, but he came on to take some of the fucking scores too. Fucking halftime 2-0. Duvan Zapata, who's been on a bit of a roll, like he had a double in the midweek too.
Yeah,
he scores off with a Papu Gomez assist, 19th minute. And then they have an injury substitution, but then Papu Gomez himself from a Musa Barrow assist makes it 2-0, halftime going in. Away, 0-2 up. Immediately upon return, Mr. Alfred Duncan brings them back 1, and they didn't take it well. They immediately went back up, and then they just decided to shit on them. Once it was 2-3, it went to 2-4, 2-5, and 2-6. All 3 goals by one Josip Ilicic, and they just destroyed them. Papu Gomez, another assist on that play, and then it was ridiculous.
Man, 6 goals in Serie A, smash City, dude.
At home against a team that doesn't score 6 goals.
Yep. Atalanta sit 8th. Sassuolo sit 12th. Moving along. Next match is Udinese hosting Cagliari, and Udinese get a very valuable 3 points with a 2-0 victory in a game that had 2 red cards.
1 for both teams.
Yep. Professional foul, last man, done. Yeah.
Yeah, Luca Capitelli.
Done. 50th minute.
Yeah.
50th minute.
But Ignacio, his last name should be man of the match by himself. Just his last name. The goal scorer, Mr. Ignacio
Pusetto. I was thinking about the guy who missed the penalty.
Pusetto.
Mr. Lasagna.
Oh, no. This Pusetto, spelled with a P-U-S-S.
Pusetto. Oh, my God. All right. No doubt. We're hitting you up. 5th grade shit.
Yeah, of course.
Diving for glory.
So
hitting below the belt.
Yes. Kevin Lasagna missed a penalty, you're right. The goalkeeper saved.
Yes.
That was a bit of a Pusetto move on his part, I would say.
That was clever.
Yeah.
Cagliari is a sit 13th. Udinese sit 15th. They are 5 points clear of relegation at the moment. Empoli hosting Inter. And Inter, Mr. Balde, who opened his count up recently, continues his nice little run of form. Enough for a 1-0 victory.
Indeed. Inter
somebody else scored.
shouting racism at Koulibaly was a big deal, and then the next game they get saved by Keita Balde, who's a Senegalese. Yeah, that's awesome. They were just insulting a Senegalese guy. It's hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Like, not even from a different country.
So
they play
ridiculous.
on the same team, and Koulibaly plays defense for Senegal, and Seydou Keita Balde plays forward.
Yep.
Okay, got it. And those guys that didn't like that guy are celebrating because this guy scored.
We mentioned it in our last episode, our Thursday episode, about the penalties, and the Italian Federation did ban Inter fans for 2 games following this up. Make a
Yes.
difference?
And then when they do open, they'll like close down a certain the north stand for a while or whatever. But so Koulibaly, unless this is why Koulibaly's appeal to get one of the 2-match suspensions that he has after that game should be taken, right? If Koulibaly gets a 2-match suspension for reacting in a game in which he was treated completely crazily racist treatment, right? And the perpetrators of that treatment also get 2 matches.
Really?
Like,
I
aren't we
guess so,
still
huh?
aren't we still
I guess so.
being racist?
Absolutely. Why? Like, they should hunt those dudes down and do what they're supposed to do. as
First
far as-
off, the people that do it, like they did at the Chelsea game the other time, where they bar them. But secondly, like, close down the stand for longer and rescind his red card.
yeah.
Like, if you are being racistly abused during the game,
Yeah.
I think that you should get a pass.
Yeah. For arguing with the ref. Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
The ref that your team has asked already repeatedly to stop the game because of racism directed towards you
Yeah.
decided that your tackle was worse than the racism, and then you got a little frustrated.
Yep.
Like, if a panel of people cannot understand this and rescind it, I don't understand. Like, the racism is even bigger. It grows. It doesn't just continue.
Institutional shit. Inter sit 3rd place and Empoli sit 17th, 3 clear of relegation. Moving along, Parma hosting Roma. And when the cheese met the tomato won.
Okay. That is the best game report I've ever. What the fuck just happened?
Roma 2-0 over Parma. Parma at home.
Alright. So if Roma is the tomato, what does that make the Turkish midfielder? Pepper? Anyways.
A caper?
He had a goal and an assist. Mr. Cengiz Under. They call him Cengiz. I think. Cengiz?
Cengiz Under. Yep.
Yeah, I'm like Cengiz. If you wanted it to be pronounced Cha, you should have bought that H.
Bought that consonant.
Yeah.
But he hit him up with an assist and a goal in this game. Balled out.
But the Brian Cristante goal was ridiculous. He had them all on the floor, man, the defense.
Yeah.
But alas, Roma back on winning track for a couple of games. We'll see how that goes.
Under with 4 key passes in this game on top of his block and assist. Solid. See what happens with him in January.
Dude, Roma sold their defenders, their goalkeeper. They're actually, again, rebuilding on the fly, having a fucking few bad games and stuff, but like, they're gonna be fine. Sevilla 2.0, fucking Monchi, big respected.
Yeah.
The only thing that would make it like poetic justice would be if he won the Europa Cup with them.
Yeah. Well, moving along, Roma sits 6th with only a point back of 2 points back of top 4, and Parma surprisingly still sit 11th.
A week ago, we called Roma the most disappointing big team out there, and the jump from 10th to 6th has been fast. Let's see how they do.
Absolutely. All right, moving along. Genoa hosting Fiorentina, and we got a 0-0 draw here.
Yes, we did. So we'll skip it.
Let's see what happened. It looked kind of busy, but they didn't score. But Chievo Verona did, playing against Frosinone in a battle of relegation teams here, relegation threatened teams. And Chievo got the win after a red card by Marco Capuano.
Yeah, double yellow immediately. Done. So they got that in the 58th minute. Emanuele Giaccarini scores the winner in the 76th minute. So
it's Chievo's first win of the season, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to survive and shit, maybe you shouldn't call your team the Flying Donkeys.
You can survive in northern Mexico, but
I do not know.
Well, at least in Tijuana. Moving along, Frosinone and Chievo sit in the relegation zone. It's bad news for them. They're way down. Moving along, Lazio hosting Torino, and another game with 2 red cards at the end of the game after a 1-1 draw. SMS.
Yeah, he's doing it. He's coming alive. And Lucas Leiva has always been a good foil for him since he went there from Liverpool. And he hooked him up with an assist in this game. And on the other side, Andrea Bellotti, who's actually been having quite a slow season compared to last year, scored for Torino, and he had 1 shot on target and 1 shot off target. That was about it, and that was enough to get him a 1-1.
Do you feel like you're doing the show with Hamzik from Napoli because of my hair?
Oh shit! Marek Hamzik.
Hamzik, dudes look cray. Excuse me. Moving along here to the standings, we are looking at Lazio sitting 4th. Nice little distance between them and Inter in 3rd, but they are going to be in a battle for that 4th spot between Lazio, Milan, Roma, maybe even Sampdoria, maybe in the AT Aliens. Who knows?
AT Aliens.
The AT Aliens. Torino sit 9th, pleasantly chugging along there for a safety season. Napoli. This was a fun game. We watched the last little bit of it, man. Napoli hosting Bologna, and Dr. Dries Mertens saves them in the 88th minute.
And the Milik man came twice. Yes.
Arcut.
Well, they call him Arak Milik.
Arak?
Yes. I mean, it's Arkadouish or something, but they call him Arak.
Yeah.
Arak Milik.
Yes.
The Polish sensation.
With the brace.
With a brace. One assisted initially from Dr. Dries himself, Dr. Dries to the Milkman, and then Kevin Malquit, and then another assist, and they had a comfortable, it seemed, 2-1 going on. Fucking old ass Rodrigo Palacio still playing. Fucking, whew, man.
Yeah, and then a header in the 80th minute by Danilo. Not that Danilo, the other Danilo. 2-2. And that brings out Dr. Dries.
Yeah, Fabian Ruiz assist. Dr. Dries finishes it late in the game. It was actually a really, really nice, well-taken goal.
So Napoli get all 3 points if they have any hope of...
They would have made it a 3-0 if they, had Kalidou Koulibaly.
Yeah, probably, huh? Yeah, and that's tough, man, because that leaves them, let's see... in second place, 9 points back of Juventus. That could have been a 6-point gap. But it's tough out there in racist ass Italy, I guess.
Yes, indeed.
You paid the price. On the other side of Milan, AC hosting Spal.
AC looking shook lately, too.
Man, as you know, at least on these particular set of stats, Suso is the top-rated player in Serie A. Leads the league in assists.
He leads that game in red cards. He got sent up.
Sure did. But AC got all 3 points here, man. Mr. Higuain.
Samu Castillejo with the initial
equalizer after they went down. Yeah.
After Petagna put them down, Thiago with the assist, but then Mr. Pipita, who has been in transfer rumors this whole past 10 days or so, with the Chelsea looming, and it's interesting, and assisted from Hakan Çalhanoğlu, who has been in Red Bull Leipzig rumors this past week also. So we'll see where they go, but for this game they saved Rino Gattuso another week or so.
Another week as Milan get all 3 points. They sit in 5th place, right outside the top 4, and Spal sit 16th, 4 points clear of relegation. Just move along to the awards, man. Dude of the week.
Roberto Firmino.
Yeah, you put a hat trick up on Arsenal and dance around in their backfield like the way you do. They've been dominating our awards accordingly.
I mean, they're dominating the league. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, absolutely. Goal of the week.
Goal of the week.
Karamasa, is that how you pronounce it?
We are gonna go over to the Cardiff City game where Victor Camarasa scored a nice wicked curler.
Sick goal for all 3 points.
Yes, Harry Kane, honorable mention.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Also Pogba and who's the other guy we said honorable mention for? Dude? Papu Gomez with an amazing game.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So Serie A is done for this break. They don't come back till the 19th. La Liga come back the 5th, 6th, I think, weekend, and that's a weekend that EPL is going to play FA Cup matches. But before that, we have Wednesday games Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday games in the EPL this week, and then they follow up with the FA Cup. But there's one game in particular on the calendar which strikes my fancy, of course, and it is Manchester City hosting Liverpool. How you feel about this game, man? Is it for all the marbles? City don't win. If they get a draw, is it still a game on? If they lose, though, I feel like it's a wrap.
If they get a draw, it's still game on. A win would really, really, really help Liverpool a lot. I think they're gonna top out, they're gonna fall off at some point, and they're gonna give points back. But the gap that they're building,
it's tough.
It's gonna be It's gonna be a war of attrition, and if they can just survive it. So if Liverpool gets this win, they'll be well on their way to a situation where if they're not champions, we should be shocked. This game would open up a minimum, because if Tottenham wins their game, they would have a 9-point lead if they had this game. And if you have a 9-point lead this late in the season with the offense that they have and Virgil van Dijk there and everything,
you got the space to lose 3 games, and Tottenham has to go undefeated.
Whereas if they lose this game, it's a 4-point game. Everything's still in it,
The one thing I'll mention about City and their schedule as well, and how this could be that crucial, is that they have played most of the Big Six teams away already.
All of the Big Six teams.
All of them.
All
so
of
they'll
the
get the home
they've played is going to be,
and they get most of them in the next 2 months.
Yeah.
So the last 10, 15 games, and obviously as you see over their past 2 games, you can't count out anyone, but that could certainly be to their advantage.
Not going to be something to complain about, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, no, not at all. One thing I wanted to ask you about was, the way these 2 teams contrast. I watch, obviously, both teams. They're on TV a lot. And we were talking during the Liverpool game how much I feel like it's starting to really more or less resemble those Dortmund teams in the way that they move the ball. And then I watched the City game today, and you see City, and they move the ball around. They toss it back to this side, and they rotate the ball, and they try to get into little pockets. Liverpool is just almost exclusively forward movement at all times. They are just positive. There's none of this let's switch up. I mean, they do it from time to time, of course, in the nature of a game, but in general,
it's more of and both are effective systems. One is not, but in Pep system, you believe that if you have the ball, that the other team can't get the ball. So you don't necessarily even need to shoot unless you feel like it's a scoring opportunity. Whereas in club system, which is also the RB Leipzig and the new school, which is like the pressing that Pep and them do, but try as many opportunities as you can and just keep it going forward and try to play as much of your football. Like your most talented players are your forwards, whereas in Pep system, generally your most talented players are your midfielders. You know, so like even the priorities, like you can tell what they're trying to accomplish.
So this game, the first game actually turned out a little duddish. Both teams kind of, almost maybe respected each other too much. I think was
that
our analysis.
This game now, like it was also early in the season. This game now, I think somebody's gonna have to get something out of it, so they're gonna go at it, and
Pep was,
it should be interesting.
It should be fun. I wish I had it in front of me. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. If they have that, they're not going to have the overall record. Do you have any concept of what Guardiola Klopp matchups are record-wise? Here we go.
I forget.
5 wins for Pep, 2 ties, and 8 wins for Klopp.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yep.
You talked about it before the last game.
Yeah, boom, no doubt. Overall here, man, they're looking at 10 wins for Liverpool, only 4 for City, 5 draws. They've been, even before Pep showed up with the Suarez team and all that, I mean, they were putting it on. They've been always kind of putting it on City as far as I've ever watched. But should be fun.
We shall see.
All right, man. That is it for 2019, man. Holla, holla.
Nah, that's it for 2018.
Damn. Try to fast forward. That's it for 2018, man. We're on our way to 2019.
It's a serious dive for glory. Just kill a year in one move.
We'll see y'all in 2019, man. Diving for Glory, posting every Monday and Thursday in Champions League weeks on iTunes, on YouTube, on divingforglory.com, man. Hit us up at Twitter, on Facebook at Diving for Glory. And happy motherfucking New Year, Sir Solomon.
Happy New Year.